for one day by sheer accident. During the Civil War, normally we close down the airport at sunset and switch off all the navigational aids in order not to have strange aircraft, especially from Biafra, to come and bomb us. So on this occasion, I happened to be the air traffic controller on duty at MM. And the control tower was a two-story building just across runway 19 left before the improvement. So I came on duty about 6:30 in the evening, and my task was simple. Shut down all the navigational aids, including the runway and approach lights, VORs, everything, shut down, and only leave the radio on for emergency. So I was getting ready, settling down for the night. I had shut down everything, and then suddenly the radio came alive, and there was an aircraft, Nigeria Air Force, blah, 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 requesting to land. This is a trick. It must be Biafra coming to home boss. So I said, who are you? And of course, he responded and said, he really was a Nigeria Air Force aircraft coming from Kaduna to Lagos. By this time, you can imagine my panic. And he was requesting that I should switch on the runway lights and maybe the navigational aids for him to land. So the first thing I did was to browse through our records to see whether any such aircraft actually existed. I didn't see anything. So now I was sure it was a Biafran aircraft. So we were having this argument, and he now said he was almost running out of fuel. He was almost by the sea coast. So I should quickly switch on the runway lights. Meanwhile, we were hearing the droning sound overhead. So the commander of the artillery brigade at the airport, anti-aircraft gunner, his name was Captain Sabo Sokoto. He rushed to the tower and was waving at me and saying, make a shoot him, make a shoot him. I said, wait, because if you shoot it and it's Nigeria Air Force, we have killed our own. If you don't, then they can come and bomb us. So I panicked. I was pacing up and down, sweating like a goat. The airport commandant was Major Dixon, who at that time lived in GRA. And we didn't have contact with him. So I had to dispatch somebody to run to GRA to tell him what was going on. Meanwhile, this guy was shouting overhead. I'm very worried about being able to land. So eventually, the Dixon asked me to ask the captain his name. So I asked the captain, what's your name? And he said, Mooks. I said, again, Mooks. That sounds funny. Anyway, I relayed the message. Meanwhile, he was dragging himself up and down. Eventually, Major Dixon said I should ask him the full meaning of Mooks. So I asked the full meaning, and it was Captain Mokonogo. So, now that he mentioned it, I mentioned this to Major Dixon, and he said, okay, it's one of us, it's one of us. By the time somebody was my men are ready, I want to shoot it down, shoot it down. I said, please, shoot it down. All of a sudden, this rookie, I just finished school 2 years back, and I'm now the commander of the aircraft gunners and all sorts of things at the airport. To cut a long story short, now that I got the clearance, I started switching on and off the runway lights, hoping that he was real. Then he said, oh, he had a runway in sight, but I don't have you in sight. It turned out that he saw Ikorodu road lights and was almost going to land there. That's how we struggled until finally managed to land at Lagos Airport. It was a DC-3 that was converted by the Nigerian Air Force to go and drop bombs on Biafra. Apparently he had left Lagos about 1 p.m. on a sortie, and after that he go and land in Kaduna. And by practice we did not record military movements. And I was a civilian. Didn't know anything about this. But when he got to Kaduna, Kaduna didn't have enough information, so they were shooting at him. That's why he decided to come back to Lagos. So when he landed, he now came with the aircraft door from the DC-3, those of you who know it, big door, had been removed, and somebody was strapped in the cabin where he would be pushing off bombs. That was how they operated. So he came with all his crew. There were about 4 or 5 people to the control tower to thank me for saving his life. And I thanked him for saving my life quite a while back. One of the stories we shared during the Nigerian Civil War. So yes, a commander. When I got home next morning, and I told my family that I was commander of the Nigerian airport, everything, gunners and everything, I will not begin to smoke again. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have so many such real life stories. Every word was correct. That how we went through all that period of sustaining aviation. For the past 100 years. This is one of them. And as you may have, some of you will recognize, on the 1st of November 2025, I was one of those honored by the Ministry of Aviation as a major contributor to our aviation industry in Abuja, for which I was very, very grateful. And I said, 26 years after my retirement, after flying presidents, operating the way I just mentioned, I was a became a pilot, later, became a director, and so forth. 26 years up to this moment, I'm still waiting for my final entitlement. So how do we explain this to the youth of today? How do we expect patriotism? How do we have sleep when we neglect the elderly in our society? Young people who are in conditions today, forget that they will old. But that's aspect of our past aviation. But today, we're still grateful to God that some of us are still alive and waiting. And as I mentioned last year, the information got to the Ministry of Finance sent it to aviation to give details of the recipients and entitlements. In Accountant General Office, Central Bank, and my bank. So these are not good for our nation. Those of us who served in those days, I remember flying 5 presidents in this country. I flew Ghana was go. I flew dead bodies. There was one occasion, a chief in Enugu, in London, and were to bring his corpse home. So I was the captain that day. Loaded everything and took off. I even signed for the corpse. On getting to Lagos, there were Atilogu dancers at the airport waiting to receive their body. But it turned out that we forgot the body in London. So, as the crew were checking out, somebody came and told me, say, Captain, please come. Where is the dead body? I said, I beg your pardon. The dead body. He said, yes. You know people that are looking for it. So they're now looking for me. I said, please, remove my replace. And then I'm not here. That's how we left. So we've had very interesting times in aviation, and we hope that all this will be smoothened out soon. Thank you. If you want more, you let me know, I'll tell you more. Thank you.
Before you go, I actually need more. So I'm telling you I need more. Okay, I said I asked for more.
Yeah.
So I asked for more.
How did you bring the body back?
Yes, please, answer that question, sir. How did you bring
The dead body, how did you ferry it back?
What was the question?
How did you ferry the dead body back?
The dead body?
After removing your epaulets.
Oh, they had to go back to London to go and get their dead body. I had escaped. We had so many such things. When I was a student pilot in Canada, 1969, 70, I and my instructor were given a corpse to ferry to some other town. It was winter, so we put on the heater inside the aircraft, one of these small aeroplanes. The body was lying on the back seat with the Cessna 172. And halfway through, the body started moving because the heat had melted. That was the day I learned aerobatics. It was not funny, and it was in the night. Vancouver International Airport, we were going to a place called Williams Lake, those of you who know Canada. So that was another experience. I wasn't laughing at that time. Exactly. So, back to Nigeria. I flew then Commander Alfred Yeates-Spiff to Sao Tome and Principe for their independence celebration. I was one of the crew. I used to fly presidential plane then. So we went to the dining table with the state banquet, and the dinner was late. So I was sitting next to now King Yeates-Spiff, and on the menu there was an item written hot dog. Well, I knew what hot dog was because I had trained in Canada. So he leaned over to me and said, you know, he had a deep voice, he said, "Poor baby." I said, "Sir." He said, "Hot dog. They are still looking for the dogs. That is why the minister, the dinner is late." I said, so what do we do? He said, maybe we can help them, but we know how to call dogs. Maybe they don't know how to call dogs. So they will kill the dogs and make hot dog for us. I also flew so many sorties. I was on the night of Angola's independence, the crew that took Agostinho Neto to Luanda. We left here at 7 p.m. because it was a clandestine flight. At that time, the Nigerian Air Force was not yet mature enough to do such flights. Somehow, Dr. Agostinho Neto had come through Nigeria and was going to Luanda in order to be there for midnight and receive their independence paper, which was left on the table by the Portuguese. FNLA and PNLA, MPLA were struggling to get to the State House to receive that, and they would be the ones to be in government. So we did this clandestine flight where we did not even tell the control tower where we were going to. We were not allowed to. In those days, as a presidential pilot, if we had a flight the next day, the previous day we would be taken from our homes and put in a secret hotel. And so even except my wife, who knew that I was going on such a mission, nobody else, not even the control tower knew. We said we were going to the across the shore to do aerobatics or whatever, which was not correct. Anyway, Dr. Agostino Neto landed here. We put him on board and we took him to Angola. We landed there 3 minutes to midnight. I remember very well we were given a special call sign because there was supposedly a Russian aircraft carrier along the coast that was monitoring the airwaves. And that call sign was Mukambi 75. I have no idea till today what it meant. So at regular intervals, we would relay this message on a frequency we were given. That's how we got in, we landed. At the runway itself, we told them, oh, we don't reach there, so go. So a carbon truck came and picked him up, and we turned around and took off. We landed here at about 5:30 in the morning, because it was a 3.5-hour flight from here to Rwanda, and 3.5 hours back. So 6 hours plus a few minutes here and there. We had enough fuel to go there and back. So here is somebody who has done all of this and more. I recall on the West Coast, those days, we had passengers, a lot of them were white people. And as usual, as the captain, I would come to the aircraft, go inside and greet people through PR. And I saw this one, I said, you look familiar. He said, no, he's not been to West Africa before. I said, oh, well, it doesn't matter. You all look alike. He wasn't happy. But that's neither here nor there. Green Eagles, now Super Eagles, had a tournament in Monrovia. And I was the pilot. Departure time from here was 7:30 in the morning. Got there 6:30, did all my checks. 7:15, we boarded the flight. No Green Eagles. I didn't know. Then we pushed back at 7:30, only to find somebody at EF. So, when we, of course, the Green Eagles missed the tournament. When we came back the next day, because of that stuff, I was told that it was annoyed with me because I left the Green Eagles behind. I said, which ministry? They said, sports ministry. And the minister at that time was a Kazako, who happened to be a friend. So that day, I was on the tarmac in Lagos when the Kazako and his entourage came for something else. So they now told me that the minister was there. So I went to greet him. So he pulled me aside, leaving his entourage behind. He said, they tell you, say, I won't chop your head. I said, that's the rumor. He said, don't mind the idiots. That was the end of that matter. So we had good times those days where we did things without questions. We did things to enhance the image of our country. We did things patriotically and were quite happy. Don't ask me about my salary because you will think I'm lying. At that time, the highest paid Nigerian pilot was 25,000 naira per annum. And it was headline. And somebody in my telescope says, see how you enjoy the whole 25,000 naira, which was per annum. But yeah, but we could buy a car for 2,000. Yes. It did. So we really were well paid. However, we also had requests from all corners, especially by family members who think that because you are in the air, you are passing all the money. Except that throughout my period, I did not see any bank in the air. Now that our perhaps I could be relieved of this temporary duty for which nobody is paying me also. MC.
Right here, I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
With your kind permission as well, sir, because you know you are...
No, I need your permission to go and sit down.
No, sir, I'll you my boss.
Thank you very much for
Thank you so much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say welcome once again to this breakfast business meeting. And while my boss was speaking earlier, Captain Prex Popeni, I'm sure you will agree with me when I said earlier that he's a legend. From this he has told you, he has confirmed that actually he truly is a legend. But as he was on final approach for landing, there was a VIP movement right behind him. And the VIP movement actually brought in someone who is the late speaker for today. We had to delay his landing for the VIP movement to actually have priority. Priority was granted to none other than the Managing Director, Chief Executive of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. Don't clap yet. I want to change that because since our arrival, there's been some remarkable changes. So I would like to say, with a round of applause, we would like to welcome the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the new Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. A round of applause for her, please. This is Koko. She wants to say hello to us. Please listen attentively. Thank you very much.
Apologies. Good morning, everyone. It looks like there's a slight workaround in the arrangement for today, but I do want to extend my sincere gratitude for the opportunity to sit among various forums that exist, and I see all of the messages and all of the conversations. And really to be here, to be able to exchange our thoughts, ideas, debate, and also get input as we continue to implement our strategic direction is nothing more than an honor. I let everyone know that working as a chief executive in isolation is really being on an island with no path to the future or the mainland. So thank you again for the opportunity to be amongst you today. I understand that I now need to hand back for the chair to do the welcome address before I come back up again with my speech. So thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. We just want to acknowledge your VIP movement. Thank you. Thank you. So to start the program properly, I would like to invite my president, the president, the Aviation Safety Roundtable, Commodore Ademola Omnitiju, retired, but still very active. A round of applause for him, please.
Managing Director, Chief Executive, Mrs. Olumome. The Managing Director, Aero Contractors, Captain Ado Sanusi. Managing Director, Ibomea, Mr. George Uresi. Director, Niger Bird Engineering, Mr. Motayo Williams. Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer, Airline System, Mrs. Charlotte Esiet. Chairman, International Airlines Association of Nigeria, Mr. Damilola Ogunṣoye. And of course, our own Chairman of Board of Trustees, Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative, Mrs. Adela Yesufu, the grandfather of them all, and our elder, Benny, and our darling things remembered, Mrs. Adela Yesufu. Mrs. Adeola, you see, that's the problem I had with this Adeolas. Adeola will be police, please. And the rest of you who are equally appreciate, you are welcome. Oh, I can see Dr. Thomas, who has always been there for us. You are most welcome. I'm indeed delighted to welcome you all on behalf of the Chairman and members of the Board of Trustees, the Executive Committee members of Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative, to the first quarter 2026 business breakfast meeting. For your further information, the Aviation Roundtable is a not-for-profit, non-governmental organization made up of distinguished aviation veterans and seasoned operators in the Nigerian aviation sector. Our policy has been to utilize periodic engagements such as today's session to advance the frontiers of knowledge on topical issues in the aviation sector. Since we do not have monopoly of knowledge, we have empowered distinguished members of human and material resources to provide suggestions and possibly the implementation strategies on how to grow the sector. For today's engagement, we decided to discuss the importance of aviation hub in the efforts to boost the aviation sector's contribution to Nigeria's gross domestic product, GDP. According to the Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, NBS, the aviation sector contributes approximately $1.7 billion to, I think, about $2.5 billion annually to Nigeria's GDP. The sector supports over 216,000 jobs, including direct, indirect, and induced benefits. Aviation-linked terrorism also contributes about $454.1 million to the GDP. However, infrastructure limitations, together with operational challenges, including rising costs, are some of the impediments hampering the growth of the sector. Nigeria's aviation transport operations is highly concentrated in Lagos with about 29%, Abuja 32%, and Port Harcourt with about maybe 10.6%. These activities account for over 70% of the sector's GDP contribution. With regards to passenger traffic, The sector handles international passengers annually. It is customary with us at the Aviation Roundtable to recognize and commend efforts by leaders of the industry when noticeable strides are made, with a view to encouraging them to do more for our dear country Nigeria, while at the same time holding them to account and responsible to the Nigerian people on whose behalf state power is exercised. We are excited by the efforts of the present crop of leaders and policy makers in the aviation sector. Thus, when it became public that the Murtala Mohammed International Airport Ikeja was to be refurbished, we felt we should hold a discussion session in a timely manner to complement the bold steps, so that the end result will meet the expectations of a substantial segment of Nigerians. Platform for policy advocacy, critique, and appreciation, many of whose names I've mentioned there, whose experience and sagacity is notable and respected to offer diverse perspectives on the thing. The anticipated outcome is a robust coalition of ideas for the governance of the sector and implementable ideas to boost in infrastructure and technology in today's ever-changing algorithmic world. The aviation capital development, implementation of policies to attract knowledge gaps, business-friendly environment, airports, incentivized airlines and soft loans, for aviation related, the Aviation Roundtable, and advocated the utilization of the public-private partnership model that funding aviation infrastructure through private sector investments, together with governments of our amazing presentation. I wish to disclose that the Aviation Roundtable expects the new Murtala Mohammed International Airport intentionally designed to function as a regional and global hub with capacity, the Mercedes has ambitious, to handle more than 30 million passengers annually, connect more than 50 airlines to more than 100 cities worldwide. That can seamlessly We expect at airports, with strong commitment, we are also of the view that strong consideration should be given to the open skies policy. While at this policy to green aviation, sustainable fuels, eco-friendly and futuristic, to welcome you all to the Aviation Roundtable 2026 Q1 Business Breakfast Meeting. Thank you for listening.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. That doesn't go with advanced package and before the Managing Director of this authority, the new Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria. And so we want to recognize we go to Okay, you may be seated.
Can you please video before Madam comes on? Please, we want you to please look at this video.
Can we have the audio, please? The audio, please. While we're getting this sorted out, I'd like to invite the
Chairman of the Board of Trustees to please take her seat next to the person of Mrs. Adeola Yusufu, please.
Most important aviation transportation hub, MMIA, faces numerous challenges after 15 years. Lagos, the largest city and economic hub in Nigeria, is a vibrant metropolis known for its bustling ports, financial districts, and diverse culture. Commissioned in the year 1979, Murtala Mohammed International Airport, MMIA, in Lagos was the busiest airport and a key international gateway for Nigeria. However, as Nigeria's most important aviation transportation hub, MMIA faces numerous challenges after 50 years of operation, including an inefficient road network, outdated terminal facade and finishes, dilapidated building structure, aging equipment and machinery, a lack of direct access between the two terminal buildings, and restrictions on the development of Terminal 2. To restore the prestige of this international gateway, we are embarking on a journey of renewed hope, undertaking a systemic renovation of MMIA to bring back its former glory and elevate its status on the global stage. First, the inefficient road network will be replaced. Second, the existing building will go comprehensive modernization featuring an enhanced Igbo-inspired architectural design that symbolizes a soaring and hopeful Nigeria. The upgrades will include both interior and exterior enhancements, improved passenger facilities, and advanced mechanical, electrical, and plumbing systems to enhance operations and capacity. Terminal 2 will also undergo upgrades, including refurbished platforms, enhanced canopies, expanded boarding fingers, and an enlarged apron for greater efficiency. Once completed, passengers at MMIA will enjoy a significantly enhanced travel experience. The redesigned infrastructure will provide well-organized and direct access to the terminal buildings, improving efficiency, optimized internal circulation to ensure uninterrupted movement of arriving and departing passengers. Additionally, modernized facilities, operating amenities, and an aesthetically immersive environment will create a more comfortable, seamless, and enjoyable journey for all travelers. Under the new corporation initiative, will leverage global expertise in airport engineering and cutting-edge digital systems to transform MMIA into a safer, smarter, greener, and more efficient regional hub. Finally, the nation will be filled with hope, paving the way for a brighter future.
greener, smarter, more efficient. Interesting keywords. Before I invite the Managing Director of the new Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, I just want to make some recognitions and invite them to please take their seats next to the Managing Director to please give us some moral support, just to flank her on the left and on the right, please. Two very important people who I'm sure by the time I call their names, she'll appreciate them sitting next to her, to give her some boost. I'd like to invite the Managing Director, Chief Executive of IBOM Airlines, in the person of Captain, sorry, I'll go to the Captain now, Mr. George Uresi. It's really important to be the gentleman. In fact, this is a gentle captain. Yes, he's one of the captains that I see is ever gentle, irrespective. Very calm, very calm. In the person of my former MD of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency, current MD, no, before I come to the current MD, former MD again, Eric current MD, Aero Contractors, in the person of Captain Adams. Very calm captain. So please, we need to add that to your name, very calm captain. Please like her on the other seat. So ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are now good to go. I'm sure Madame has enough support now, so Madame can do this. Let's invite her with a round of applause, please.
Good morning again, everyone. Just before I kick off, I'd like to recognize some of our critical stakeholders present. Of course, to the President of the Aviation Safety Roundtable and all of the Board of Trustees, as well as the executive members. The Managing Director, IBOM Air, Mr. George Uresi, the Director of Niger Bird Engineering, Mr. Motayo Williams, MD Aero Contractors, Captain Adu Sanusi, the Chairman of the International Airline Association of Nigeria, I believe now known as AOC, Mr. Damilola Olusheye, Mrs. Charlotte Esiet, MDCE, Ellen Systems. Thank you again for inviting me to this prestigious occasion. Before I kick off, I do want to address a couple of things. I believe that while it's an honor to be standing here with you today, we can incorporate. We've all participated in this sector for years, and I'm sure if I look at, or if I add the collective memory of all of us in this room, I'm sure it would be stakeholders in the aviation we're way behind. We know that we've had a deficit in terms of the types of investment that needs to go into the sector. What we're doing today is just playing catch up. So where we're talking about investments, the one thing I picked up on, sir, that you said this morning, even for the airports, private sector participation needs to lead the way. There is absolutely no way government can fully fund. I've been on the seat for 2 years. It's been exciting, but it's had sweet times and I would say sour times. Being an operations buddies over the last few weeks, and rightfully so, because even though we're going through an exercise of rehabilitation and upgrade of the airport, it comes with pains. Our passengers are experiencing a new way of moving around our terminals. We're now using remote stands as opposed to using the avio bridges. That means that we need to make sure that we're catering for our passengers with reduced mobility. It means that we have enough buses to move people between the aircraft and the terminals. And I think we've worked alongside this, but we still have gaps to close. And at the same time we're doing that, I hear people say, oh, Hajj and Cargo, ban has come and, they're increasing funds or fees, right? And then there are also demands. I don't think there's been any major upgrade in the Hajj and Cargo terminal in years. I mean, that place is chaos. It even scares me as MD to go inside that terminal. But I want to thank everyone who has contributed to that. AVIATION Cargo has really helped us in terms of all of the work that they've done. There's a lot of sanitization that is happening, and you will see some of that to come. Okay. I also read, and I think we chatted about your comments to say, look, what are we really doing in Nigeria? And I believe that's the topic for today. What are we doing with the airports and how are we making this a hub? I think we chatted about the technology. What technology are we putting in place? What are we really doing about the passenger experience and the passenger flow? Before I start the presentation, I want to put some bare-bone facts on the table. In 2024, if you sort of paid attention to what was happening at the airport, I believe that the two airports that give me headaches is one, Murtala Mohammed, rightfully so because of the passenger traffic and the aircraft movements that we have. Kanu, because of the safety and security challenges. I don't want to mention names of airlines here, but we had some major security challenges with one particular airline. And then I would say the third airline. And then I would say the third is Abuja domestic. The domestic terminal in Abuja between Murtala Mohammed, the JT, which is where we operate the likes of Airpeace from, and then the first focus was, can we even try and make it slightly comfortable? So we partnered with some private sector organizations and also looked at the budgetary provisions that we had available. So we bought new screening machines, we expanded certain areas within the processing areas for immigration. We did Lagos, we did Abuja, and some of the domestic terminals as well. Upgraded protocol lounges, looked at the toilets, just basic facilities. Basic. What you would expect in your home, not even in an airport. And that's not what we should be doing. We should be thinking about the future. I then spent the last quarter of 2024 along with my team, and last quarter of 2024 and Q1, Q2 of 2025, engaging various sectors of government about what we need to do. And there were various schools of thoughts. I also won't mention names, but I will talk about their own thought process. So there is a group who believes that, I think that is what was still in question. So one group, and again I'm speaking about government groups, so my stakeholders, believe that we should concession the airports, right? And in concessioning the airports, the thoughts are, let's concession the airports, but let's cherry pick, which is, if an investor comes in today and says, I'm interested in Abuja Airport, well, let's see if they have the capacity, take them through the government process, and give it to them. That's what is called an unsolicited bid. It's where an investor comes in with their interest. Then you have the solicited bids. This is where government actually runs a process where it is an open process, and the fact that every administration that has come in has tried to go through that process. So they start and then they stop. And I've been on both sides, right? So I've been on the side of government at some point where they said let's start the concession process. And I've also been on the other side from my past life where I'm doing transaction advisory for potential investors. And I can tell you that there is a deep sense of frustration from the side of investors, both local and international. And what we keep referencing is continuity in government. In the last concession process that was done, I recall that the likes of Changi Airport participated, TAV participated, I believe Corporate America also participated. These are some of the largest airport groups in the world. Of course, their level of participation was different. Some were going to come in with financial investment, others were going to come in with technical support, and that process has stalled. So for us to run another process, we have to be sincere, we have to commit to the process. So that's one school of thought, so concession, so solicited versus unsolicited. The second school of thought is that we need to bring in investments. And when I say investments, more of institutional type investments, where you either have private equity firms who have deep funds. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with the likes of AVIATION and what he's done with some of the airports, and they are more of institutional investors. And for those who are have some level of control, we need to ensure that we can view your master plan. For such investors, what they're looking for is they're looking at it from, yes, we want to transform. They're looking at it that it's an economic frontier and drives and actively contributes to the growth of the nation. So those are sort of the two different schools of thought. Of course, there's the third for government to continue to of those models. No, because they're very thoughts. And what we've been doing with the board is we have presentation. I could do one thing, which is I could wait until my 4 years is over and do nothing. I just say I was waiting. Or I could say whatever we have now, because I do not have, yes, I'm an entity. It's fortunate because we're still able to get support from government, but FAN also generates significant revenue. So we went back to government to say, allow us to even leverage some of the revenue that we generate, and let's pump that back into the airports. So while we've gone back to government, so while you're trying to figure out which way possible, because the federal government owns these airports, FAN manages the airports on their behalf. So the decision has to still come from the federal government. There are different sort of thoughts as to, I think, different legal opinions in terms of who should handle concessions and investments, but for now, it's still the federal government. In that time, we then use the second quarter or the half year to then say, federal government, we've contributed enough to your process, at least in 2024, 2023, and up until September last year, we were contributing 50% of our revenues back to the federal government. So we said, please allow us to retain these airports and allow us to leverage part of what we have contributed so far into at least fixing some of the major issues we have with the terminals. Hence the reason for an approval through renewal. So it's basically allowing us to leverage the funding that we have contributed. Now, what are we doing with that? So I'm going to skip through various parts of the speech, but the one thing that is clear, and our passenger traffic for 2025 still stands at just barely over 17 million. Less than 10% of our market is traveling. And I'm sure you know that number would also include both international passengers and domestic passengers. And what I continue to tell people is that passenger traffic, I say this in every session I attend, is really driven by GDP. But when you look at the per capita spend of each individual, can you actually afford, I'm talking about locally, to purchase tickets? And I can continue building as many airports as possible. But if I don't have a vision, and it's not me, it's all of us, because you're all stakeholders, for the collective future of aviation, which is to ensure that we have hubs in this market, then we're really just kidding ourselves. Because our own population as it stands today will not drive the growth that we're looking for. And that's the model we've seen in the likes of Ethiopia, we've seen it in Cairo, we've seen it in South Africa, where the airports really drive trade, facilitation of passengers to onward destinations. The video that you saw talks about three things. So there are three components to the project. So I'll speak about what this upgrade will actually entail. So the first is Terminal 1. In Terminal 1 today, it was old, the chillers don't work. Every day you're seeing videos of conveyor belts that are breaking down. The conveyor belts have been there since the airport was built. So we agreed that we would expand the flow of traffic so that we can increase the processing capacity of the terminal. We also agreed that, so of course in that you would have all of the equipment, so the baggage handling systems, chain handling systems as well. AVIO bridges, so we actually had, by the way, AVIO bridges on ground as of October last year, new AVIO bridges, but we couldn't install them because of the rehabilitation. So what we're ensuring is to make sure that the rehabilitation would actually be able to take this new AVIO bridge. So Terminal 1 is being expanded, it's being redesigned in terms. Terminal 2 has some design flaws, which we all know. I remember a question from Mr. President sometime last year, and he said the airports cannot take planes something. I think it was supposed to have been on the east side, where to approach the terminal on floor and you drop off. But you are actually then taking, with all of your luggage, taking escalators to allow you to do that. So the Terminal 2 itself is being redesigned, where the departure processing floor is now going to be on the same floor where you drop off. So the pickup and drop off zone is going to be completely different. If you notice, we sort of demolished the bridge already, and there is a new bridge coming up. So there's also going to be a new road, so ingress and egress that takes you in and out of the terminal. So some of the traffic issues that you see today, where you don't really have a great pickup area, all of those are being addressed. But in addition, the fingers were actually shorter than required, and what that means is that we can only take one wide-body aircraft because of the wingspan in T2. We're relocating the two hangars, being Dominion and AAN, which we're obstructing. We've identified new locations for them. They've also been supported to ensure that they can move on. to the new locations, and they have a timeline for that. And once they move, we will then extend the fingers in both into. And of course, that then allows us to be able to see more widely aircraft. The parking lot is also, so there's the same parking lot that is there. It's a lot of people don't use it because you're unable to connect. So there's going to be a connection. That connection has actually started between terminal 2 and the parking lot. And then there is a transit facility. I don't want to call it a hub. I would rather call it a transit facility, because that's something that we lack today. Because today, if you arrive in Nigeria, you actually have to come out, be processed through immigration, and then try and check in again for another flight. So you can't transfer to another flight without going through that. So there's a transit facility that is being built through T1 and T2. And of course, the temporary terminal is active now, able to accommodate 4 airlines in there, Ethiopian, Middle Eastern, Air France, and KLM at that terminal. And the reason why I took time to explain this is just so we sort of have a clarity of purpose on what is being done. Does this give us the hub that we're looking for that accommodates, 50 million passengers? The answer is no. Not within the funding that you have available. But does this allow us to start our journey into being able to accommodate transit and at least start the journey of increasing our passenger movement and repositioning us as a hub? Yes. And while that's happening, we then finalize our conversation with our owners, being the federal government, on this concession process and the idea of institutional investors, which the board, the ministry, and Mr. President is actively interested in, because they all agree that there's absolutely no way the federal government can sustain the investment and really position us where we need to be. So I just want to talk about our vision. So this is what we're doing now, and then talk about what else we're doing to get us to become a transit hub. So Lagos and Abuja have been identified as the key hubs for us in Nigeria, Lagos being the primary, while Abuja being the secondary. Lagos clearly serves as our primary commercial gateway, which handles the bulk of the international passengers and cargo traffic. Let's not forget all of the work that is happening on the cargo side. Single window was recently launched. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria was an active participant in that. Better visibility as it comes to our cargo movements. Also, there's an advanced cargo information system that is also coming up that will give us better visibility. Abuja in itself complements us as, both it's a political and administrative hub. So if you look at Egypt, for example, good like smart, right? So Abuja is sort of like political gateway for us. But if you look at Cairo, so a lot of people are flying to Cairo for meetings to see a lot of financial institutions that are there. But you also find out that those who are going in for tourism also fly through some of the other airports. So that's why we're sort of there's a distinction between the use of Abuja and Lagos, both as hubs, but almost sort of driving towards different types of functionality. We're also prioritizing infrastructure modernization, which includes some of the terminal upgrades, some of which I described. We're looking at Abuja in itself. I'll talk about that, but it's more around how do we improve the routes and the bilateral air service agreements, because the Abuja International Airport is functioning at less than 20% of its capacity today. Of course, also looking at advanced air traffic management systems as well. I explained the expansion of MMIA. Then in addition, there's the 8,000 square meter temporary departure hall, which handles about 1,500 passengers at peak. The engagements that are going on right now about a monorail system in Lagos Airport. So Lagos is also one place where you sort of get down and you have to get in your car before you move around between terminals. There's a cost benefit analysis that is being done, and of course looking at the financing models. I believe that one of the models we've looked at, which is EPC plus F, which is really just engineering, procurement, and the contract and the financing, while the other is more of a structured PPP approach. In those conversations, it's really around how do we extend the Lagos Red Line to the airport and have about 4 stops in Lagos. So I think there's a stop at MM1, MM2, the Hajar Cargo Terminal, and also one other stop, so about 4 or 5 stops there. The Lagos airport in itself, one end left, is being upgraded as well. As part of this exercise, that's actually ongoing. Contractors have mobilized to site and some of our key taxiways. Deployment of advanced surface movement guidance and control systems is in place. Access controls have also started. That really gives me a big headache in Lagos. Nigeria is one of the few airports where passengers come in with their loved ones and return them back. Not because we want to, and it's not ideal. We actually want people to be in the terminal because we want them to sort of focus on the commercial offerings that you have available. But with the airport being in the city area, what we see is the people loitering. Some of the loiterers in itself are our own staff who are not on duty, staff of other security agencies, staff of concessionaires who have sort of seen business opportunities within the airport. And it's I want to say that it's an economic problem, but we have to fix it. And to fix it is really around the access control facilities. So the deployment of that is also in place across Lagos, Abuja, the Hajar Cargo Terminal. I'm sure you saw the pushback from the operators in Hajar Cargo because we first need them to register all of the agents. Half of the people there are small scale builders who have no business being there. They need to be in the office, aggregate, consolidate, and bring in there. Then the last is the few others are expansion of the apron. So we're expanding the Lagos apron as well. The Abuja apron and then some other aprons. I think Maiduguri and Kano are also being expanded. Kano in itself, we're also doing road rehabilitation in Kano and Port Harcourt. But again, let me focus on the center which we're talking about, the hub for now. And then the cargo terminal facilities, I made a commitment to our cargo operators that we will do something about the cargo terminal in Lagos in 2026. At least some of the internal roads are being looked at, the access control I mentioned has started already, security, so enhanced security systems, more screening machines, CCTV, that is all in progress already for the Hajar Cargo Terminal in Lagos. Then we also realized the importance of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority. I know some people say FANATO, but we are not. We respect our regulator highly, which is the NCAA. But we also, strongly understand their role in safety oversight and security frameworks. So we're engaging them heavily as we go through some of these changes, and we look at the upcoming IC and ICBM audits as well. I want to not leave here by saying that we do have challenges, and we recognize those challenges. Those challenges have been there, they're not new. It's more around how do we make sure that we reduce the gaps that have been identified. And we're working closely with NCA on that. I'm sure you've seen that we've certified most of the international airports. We're now waiting on Enugu to be certified. And then the last really around connectivity. This is I had a meeting with the minister 2 days ago, and where we really spoke about the role of key sectors in advancing aviation. So the Ministry of Interior around our visa policies, looking at the Ministry of Trade and Investment, as well, looking at some of the expanding both local and inter-African routes. I'm sure we all know that connectivity in Africa is extremely poor, and we're really best positioned to take advantage of some of those opportunities for regional connectivity. So the ministry is going to continue to help us drive this, especially around the single African endpoint for travelers within Africa. The last one that I want to say, there's a big debate on flag carriers versus national carriers. I have a firm position on this, and my position is for us to have at least 2 to 3 flag carriers. That is my position. And the reason why I say that is to ensure that there's no dependency on one airline, but for the airlines to sort of take the opportunity. I believe I read something on the way here this morning around, everyone is sort of struggling for the same routes. There's more than enough, right? It's not just about flying those routes, but also helping to develop the market. I speak to my commercial team every day, and I say it's not for you to sit in the office. If you're even just looking at domestic travel, go and sit down with the states and understand what they're doing. What sort of business opportunities exist in this market? What tourism activities are they putting up? And then how do we support them? We have states, for example, where they've asked for a couple of airlines to come into market, and they're supporting with empty states until they can stabilize. It's something as easy as saying, every Tuesday or Friday we're having market days in Jos, right? Where there's cargo and you can fly whether it's traders or whatever, and they come back in with the produce of their goods. But those are sort of thoughts that we need to be having collectively as we drive the single Africa as well. And for the flag carriers, it's let's have 2 to 3 strong flag carriers that can consider Nigeria home base, have their whether it's an MRO facilities in market, have a market for strong spares, so you're not waiting every time, because those things are critical into making sure that we have a hub. And then the last is really making sure that our cargo terminals, I mentioned some of the work that we're doing in Lagos, but we're being very strategic around the investment. So every state governor comes and says, look, we want to sign an MOU, we want to do this as it relates to cargo, but with the limited funding that I have available, I'm being very picky about where my investments are going. You need to show that investment if I'm expanding my runway, if I'm also sort of driving improved airfield lighting systems. I believe, especially those commitments that we made last year for the Sunrise Sunset airports, what we also agreed to do, I think we said in Jos and Accra in 2026. So the ones I mentioned before have actually started and they're underway, while in 2026 we're also going to upgrade the airfield lighting for Jos and Accra for Camp 1. And lastly, it's really just the improved passenger experience to make sure that we have improved streamlined check-in and immigration processes. We engaged with more. We're asking, I'm sure you as a gateway for Africa. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity.
Very good. So members on the high table to please. So members on the high table to please just give us a minute. Just give us a minute. Blocking someone and registration number. Someone and registration number. KJA 79ER. 79ER. If this vehicle is yours, while they here right now, listen to use the here right now. Listen to use the background at the other end there. Background at the other end there. Can I please spread your job? Can I please spread your job and end it? It will please stand in the middle. President, sir. President. Okay, next to Madam. Then another person can relocate. Just locate. Get your bearing. No, Captain. No, Captain. You're too fine now. You're too fine. Don't stay there. Yes. This picture. Let's take this picture. Front page probation. Make sure you have this picture on all the papers tomorrow morning, please. And by the way, we are live. We're actually streaming live. We're streaming live. Twice. Thank you very much. Please just take your indulgence to please make your background. All members join them. Yes, please. Empty place by the edge. They won't be able to do this again. All panelists, all board members, let's join in the group picture. All panelists. Yes. So panelists first, then the board members will join them. Panelists, President, MD fan. Yes, please. Panelists first. All panelists join the MD fan, please. All panelists please join the MD fan with the President. All panelists join the MD fan with the President, please. Immediately after that, we'll take the next picture with members of the board. So let's do this picture now. I don't think that place will fit you. Okay. Let's there. Okay. Are we good? Alright, please the lights. Can we shift back a little bit so you have a wider hearing? Thank you. Wait once. Twice. Thank you very much. Board members next, please. MD fan, please remain. President, please remain. Board members, please. Join the picture now, please. Board members, please. Join the picture now. Board members are waiting for you. Can we take this picture now? This picture. Panelists for the first session will take their seats. So that have a dialogue on presentations made by the Managing Director of the new Federal Authority of Nigeria, so that she has the opportunity to get feedback before she departs. So please, can we make our way back to the podium now? So joining the Director for the Federal Authority of Nigeria are the panelists for the first session. And they will be coordinated by none other than our second Vice President, Dr. Alex Omuba. I'd like to invite the following members to please take their seats. That's not your seat for now, please. Will you please come forward, Mrs. Seshet? Take a seat on my left, please. Mrs. Seshet, we will need you now to please come to the left. Then I also have the President of the International Airlines Association of Nigeria, Mr. Lala Oshaya, please come forward and take a seat here, please. Mrs. Charlotte. So for this session, which was moderated by our second Vice President, Dr. Alex Omuba, I have the following panelists. MD CEO, Ibom Air, Mr. George Resi, who is already seated. I have the MD CEO, Aero Contractors, the person of Captain Adoso, also seated. I equally have Mr. Damawa Oshaya, Chairman of the International Airline Operators Association of Nigeria. And of course, Ms. Charlotte Eshet, Managing Director, CEO, LED Systems Limited. One person will be joining us is in transit. He will join us on the podium, and that's the chairman for NACO, Dr. Shinde Fadeni. I'd like to hand over the microphone right now to Dr. Alex Mumba.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'd like to stand on the existing protocol, save a few minutes. So let me start with you by saying that today's conversations are particularly important because they sit at the intersection of policy, operations, and national economic attention. We are gathered to reflect on how Nigeria can build a safer, more efficient, more commercially vibrant aviation sector, one that truly contributes to national growth. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the quarterly business breakfast meeting of the Aviation Safety Roundtable. That's AI for you. The business meeting is one of the most important platforms created by the Aviation Safety Roundtable initiative. Its purpose is simple and powerful: to bring together the key thinkers, operators, regulators, and innovators in our industry. Honest, informed, and forward-looking conversations. Aviation is a sector that evolves rapidly, and the issues we face are often coupled, interconnected, and urgent. The BBM gives us the space to pause, reflect, and engage meaningfully with one another outside the pressures of day-to-day operations. We hold this meeting quarterly. This particular meeting quarterly, because aviation does not stand still. Each quarter brings new challenges, new policy directions, new operational realities, and new opportunities. By meeting regularly, we ensure dialogue remains continuous rather than reactive. It allows us to track progress, revisit unresolved issues, and maintain a steady rhythm of collaboration between agencies, operators, service providers, and allied sector. It's a bridge between policy and practice. It's a place where ideas presented by regulators can be tested against the experience. Over time, the consistent exchange has become one of the defining strengths of the Aviation Roundtable. Ultimately, the medium is about building culture of shared responsibility. I would skip the rest of it and go right to the point. We have just listened to a very thought-provoking paper from the Managing Director of FAN, Mrs. Olububi Koko, on building MMIA into unsafe and economical details of nothing lands. And that's the point. That's the point that's been made by the MD. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've already introduced our distinguished panel for this session. They are the MDs of two major airlines. The chairman of the Airline Operators Committee, the MDC of the late, and we're joined by a major facility operator. The panel will examine the FAN MD's paper along 3 specific lines. So we're going to save a lot of time rather asking individual repeated questions. But each of the panelists will examine this paper along 3 lines. The first will be their professional view of the proposed vision. We saw how elaborate, how detailed, and how thought-provoking it was, but then somebody has to use it. And so we want to understand what they believe in their professional view, this vision will impact their vision. The second one is how it directly impacts their business. And their third, obviously, and the MD of FAN talked about dialogue, will be for them to make recommendations for successful implementation. So I'll just start in the number of clockwork. I'll call first on the MD of Aero Contractors, Captain Ade Sanusi, to please review this paper along those lines. Thank you very much. All right.
Thank you very much, Alex. For the first time, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, but for the first time in over 3 decades of my experience, I'm glad to hear that we have a fresh and understanding MD of FAN that has a breadth of vision that will move the aviation industry forward. The paper you presented was actually incorporating everything from the airport to flag carriers and to other, to making the airports a hub. So to get to your question that we should review the paper in those 3 lines, I first believe that to make a successful hub is not only to build an airport, a very good airport, but you also need to have strong home-based airline. And we can look at examples. We can look at Emirates, we can look at Ethiopia, we can look at, in Europe, you can look at Lufthansa in Frankfurt. So most successful hubs have strong home-based airlines. And I'm glad you said you stand for flag carriers. I stand for flag carriers. I don't think government has any business to run an airline. I believe they can give an enabling environment for airlines to drive. And I believe that strong airlines, which we have local strong airlines, can be given the opportunity to be flag carriers. And they grow and become, and that will give us a very good hub. And then the second one is to have, of course, the airport. The infrastructure must be very efficient, and we must deliberately make policies to ensure that it addresses everything. I'm very happy to hear that you have also thought of transit passages, which we don't have now, and transit cargo, passenger baggage transfer seamlessly, which is extremely important. And then competitive operating environment for airlines, and also to ensure that taxes, because there are a lot of taxes, and when you create a lot of taxes for airlines, they don't grow. So multiple taxation actually stifle growth. And then, of course, FX, getting FX. Foreign exchange is one of the things that we need to address very quickly to ensure that we have a very good hub. Of course, we talked about the navigation. So the air navigation system, an efficient air traffic management system, a PBN, that is performance-based navigation. We must transit from this land-based that we have to have this extremely important, because it actually reduces the cost, and airlines will become greener if they have a performance-based navigation system and efficient air traffic control system. We also need maintenance and training facility in the aviation ecosystem. Unfortunately, Nigeria is the only country that will buy a training device for years and keep it and it's gathering dust. We have a good simulator in Zaria, but it's not put to use. We need a modern training facility to bring that to life, and also to have a maintenance facility that will cater for maintenance. I think I can continue.
You did a great job. I'll come back to you. Thank you. So just on another time, we'll wrap it up. Exactly when we publish, we'll wrap it up. I would move to Madam Charlotte Essier, the CEO of Ending System. I'll just jump across the room and ask you to address the questions along the same lines. Please try to do that in 2-3 minutes, because you also have an 11 o'clock appointment, which I'm trying to deal with it as well. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and it's very nice to be here. I think what was presented was extremely great, but the upgrade is important, like we all said, but it's largely built around the traditional aviation space. The space I belong to, it's the future of aviation. And so I know that the future of aviation is not just the runway, it's the airspace. I think that we need to start to integrate drone mobility infrastructure into the airport design. If Lagos gets it right, it won't just be a passenger hub, it will become a true aviation and airspace hub for Africa. Thank you.
I'll give you a hint. Madam MD spoke about having conversations with me, and that was why Charlotte was invited to speak on this particular matter about building the appropriate airport for the appropriate future not the traditional renovations that we typically do. I won't come right back to an airline. I would go to Mr. Mushe for his input.
Thank you very much. And first and foremost, I must say this unequivocally that the current management of FAN is the first time in all my years of engagements that FAN is willing to look forward. I want the entire audience to give a round of applause to the Well, I know we have a lot of challenges, which is known, and most of the problems that we're having now is centered around the infrastructure. For an airport to become an hub, what is very important is to have basic facilities. You know, you can imagine we're going to renovate, we're going to shut down, despite the fact that fire also helped us to shut down unexpectedly. And some basic facilities that we should have had, we never had it. Like ambulances, like buses in case of parking rewards. You know, all these things are things we should prepare. Well, most of the times reactive, we are not proactive. Nigerian mentality. And now that we're taking the step to become a hub station or a hub nation, we must ensure that those things that will cause problems are right there as we are building and renovating. Fine, the Chinese are renovating, but we must supervise well, because I remember the number of times we were shouting, crying when we were building Terminal 2. The AOC engaged them many times, engaged FAN. Even FAN was limited to contribute to it because they have instruction from above. So I think the story is changing. Please let us ensure that whatever they are doing, I know Hiram is doing a supervisory job on it, please let them engage them so that at the end of the wait for Terminal 1 to be renovated, it will become a problem again like Terminal 2. And when we're also engaging people to do stuff, particularly at the airport, we must ensure that we put qualified people. We have limited gates, and we want to become a hub. So we should be looking at expansion. But as we're doing Terminal 1, we should also be looking at the future of going to the east side and expanding the terminals. We should not wait until when we have almost about 50 airlines coming into Nigeria, and that's when we want to start building another airport. So that's my point for now. Thank you.
I made a joke this morning. One of our members had to attend this event from Abuja, and when he said you're very smart, he didn't want to get here late. So we will now invite Dr. Uresi, because he's a doctor of the machination of aviation, to speak to us about his views about the MD's presentation, particularly with his vision, both, and I don't want you to leave out the vision that most people don't know, the ambitions for IBOM to become an international airport. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc. Good morning to everybody again. With all due respect, have a cerebral and focused professional running FAN, and all the stars aligning where the FAN MD and the ministry seem to have the same philosophy and are working in the same direction. Because 100% of the problems that have led to where we are now are ministry related and created. You know, people sitting down far away who don't know anything about the industry, who decide what happens in the industry, and mistakes are made, and we live with those mistakes forever, and we're constantly correcting them. Once again, it's being corrected, but I think this time it's being corrected in the right way, with the right sense of direction. But one of the things is important for us to be grounded in Nigeria when we talk about hub. Hub is not big airport. An airport is a hub when more than 30% of its arriving passengers are transiting out of the airport. That's when you become a hub. So you can be the 100 million pax airport and not be a hub. You'll be just doing point-to-point origin and destination traffic. You're not a hub. A hub is when between 30% all the way to 90 to 95% of your traffic is transiting. They are coming into your airport to go somewhere and coming back from somewhere to go home via your airport. That's when you become a hub. So whatever we are planning for a hub, there are certain things we need to have in mind. One of the most important elements, in fact this is a critical element, is to have a home-based carrier that is able to connect passengers. And a big limitation in Nigeria is that we are suffering from the small airline syndrome. The airlines are too small at the moment. Some have a plan to grow quite fast and organically. But many are just small. And we are sitting small. And sitting small is, I would say, it's very dangerous. You are just one slip away from leaving the business if you're small. A hub is flights are coming in, and they are coming in because they have connecting flights, so there are ways during the day. If you're going to fly from Dakar to Mauritius, one of the choices you're going to make is where you're going to transit, because there's no direct flight. If you have the choice of going via Accra or going via Lagos, I can tell you now the default setting of most people will be to go via Accra, because they will be thinking about the experience of the airport when they turn around. So one thing is the infrastructure. Another thing is the airline to provide the connectivity. And the third thing is the service must match the infrastructure. The service must match the infrastructure. So we built this brand new terminal in Lagos, design floors and all, and this started operating. When you still come and meet all the nonsense you meet in the old terminal, and it just defeats the purpose. Everywhere you want to have green, nothing to declare, red airport. So we're building the first hub terminal in the country. It's designed as a hub terminal for domestic to international, international to domestic, and international to international as a small regional airline. We are trying to intervene in every single point, such that when you use the terminal, for instance, to go to Malabo or to go to Libreville, if you come from Abuja, you turn around and board your flight and go, and you come back, you turn around and board your flight and go to Abuja, you will phone all your friends and say from now on, go through Uyo because of the airport experience. And that's just to say, even customs, immigration, we are prepared to pay them a special allowance. I beg. Settle for this side. And all those funny things. We don't even want to see those things. And build our own capacity to manage the airport in such a way that the airport gives anyone who goes through it a world-class experience if get anywhere. Because of the hub. Why is Ethiopia going to beat everybody? I went through Nairobi the other day. They have a hub, but look at the behavior of everybody. It's like you had no choice, so you came here. Next time I have to choose where I want to, when I'm going somewhere that I need to go, either via Kigali or via, I will go to Kigali or I'll go to Addis instead of going through Nairobi, because of the lackadaisical attitude of the airport and the airline staff in that airport. And that's the second time I'm experiencing that. So these are the things that count. The final thing I want to say is, just use Lome as an example. Lome, comparative to Nigeria, is a small, tiny village of a very few people. Lome Airport in 2009 did just under 350,000 pax. In January 2010, January 15, I think 2010, with a plan. A Sky's plan dragged create infrastructure for a hub. And last year, SID did 1.6 million passengers. 97% of them transit passengers. Only 3% were coming into Lome or leaving out of Lome. 97% of 1.6 million that airport did last year were transferring passengers. Most of them, of course, Niger people. They come and take us to where we are going and they bring us back through Lome. But since then, what are catering outfits? 2 of them are in Lome. The ground handling firms are in Lome. All the international operators of the different things that happen in the airport are in Lome. At just 1.6 million parks. So imagine the effect on employment in Lome and for just for the prestige of Togo in Lome. That's the kind of thing. And we are the ones that are suited to do this, but out of irresponsibility. We have never allowed that. I'm so happy that there's a professional that has sense, and she has a minister that also has sense. Hopefully, you start to make Lagos what it's supposed to be. And I am very happy and I clap for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George. I had to bring that to the fore because I happened to see this innovation more than a year ago, but I was told never to speak about it. And you know I speak about everything, but sometimes you see things and you're not allowed to discuss them. So I bottled that up until this moment. I will now move on to Dr. Shola Babaruri, who is an executive director of corporate services for NACO. He's representing Dr. Sainde Fade, the chairman of NACO. Before I ask NACO to speak, I need most of us to understand one of the challenges, both by the passenger at the airports as the responsibility of the airlines. But too often, we forget that there is a third party in that process, the handling company. They're responsible for SLAs to deliver your luggage from the aircraft to the baggage belt at a specific time. So when you're sitting there for 1 hour wondering where your luggage is, there is a third party responsible. There are also the people that maybe don't smile or say the nicest things when you check in because they're behind. I'm not saying that is more than one process. So the airlines are not always the bad guys when you see these things happening to you. And I know NACO is the good guy, so he will speak about the MD's paper and about how NACO is improving services. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished panelists and colleagues in the industry. Glad to be here. Dr. Captain Ado, good to see you again. Madam Kuku, good to see you. My good friend, Dan and Chief Oresi. Chief, yes, I mean. Thankfully, you have said NACO is not the bad guy, so I'm happy to start on that note. The airport is a community of different actors, and NACO is also a major actor. In any airport that you go around the world, you will find the ground handlers having to do their job. We are the first to interface with the aircraft as it lands on ground, ensuring that the aircraft door is open, and then we can let out the passenger, take the baggage, and then take them to the belt and then discharge. This gathering is not to castigate or to point accusing fingers. I don't want to blame anyone going on. If work is going on and the place is being fixed, I think we should allow them to have some peace to do the work that they're doing. I think Madam is dealing with a lot of issues in the airport. In the last couple of weeks, we had a fire outbreak there that has also destabilized the place. And I was out of the country, I got the information when I flew to Nigeria. I saw how rapidly we've also rearranged the place to ensure that there can be easy movement of passengers, those who are in wheelchairs that we have to move. We've made a lot of things much easier for everyone. So what I would say is that the ground handlers are well equipped. There is a lot of investment that both of us have done. NACO and SACOL have done substantial investment to be able to support our operations and the operations of the airline. That is not in doubt. If we were not well equipped by now, some other big players would have come into the industry to compete. And I saw a few examples in the last few years when some other foreign ground handlers came around trying to enter the market, and they had a lot of difficulty doing so because we were already well grounded, well prepared. We've spent billions and billions of naira in trying to retool from the NACO perspective, we've spent $120 million in the last couple of years. Since I got there in 2022, we've seen how much money we've had to spend to retool substantially. And if you know, though the airline sector is a lot more expensive in terms of capital deployment, but next to that will be the ground handlers. Because all of those equipment you see on the ramp are not cheap at all. How do we source for funding to do some of those things? You are borrowing at the same rate of 35–36% from the banking sector. And if you borrow at that rate, how do you recover that money? How to do a bit of overhaul of our pricing? So those are the things we've dealt with over these years. But I want to say that things are improving, and I believe that the largest room in the world, as we know, is the room for improvement. So I just want to commend the efforts of everyone that you are working together in that space. I won't say more than that for now. Thank you very much, sir.
Let me add my 2 cents to what he just said. One of the biggest challenges I see, and people talk about airfares, is the pain points, what we call the pain points of airlines. So we have an airline industry dealing with single-digit returns and screaming to survive. But we have non-advanced circles of this world reporting some incredible profits. Somehow we need to find some realignment within that structure for the survival of our industry. I think that one thing AVIATION failed to tell you all, and I don't know how I happened to be a fly in many of these rooms, which I can tell you about what's happening in New York and what's happening at FAN. One of the things in FAN, not just cerebral. This morning, as we sit here having this discussion, it's a group of Europeans, German, Nigeria. It's a product of the innovativeness and the creativity of FAN. Because followed by that, in a few more days, the federal government, also led by FAN, we're looking at the Nigerian end of the cargo business. So they're not just sitting there saying, we'll sit here, you bring airplanes, you bring cargo, you bring opportunities. But like she said, they're going to states and engage her. And so at the end of this month, this is still a national secret, so I can't get into the details of it. But it is to emphasize that where they'll be talking about how can we help states develop and deal with issues. Many of you know this, as I said that the Aviator Committee also produce in the northern part of Nigeria, it spoils before it gets to the market. And so FAN, in its forward-thinking approach, is saying, what are the facilities we need to put at the farm, at the airport, to get this? But more importantly than that, they are engaging outsiders to say, what can Nigeria do to serve you? And with that, we wrap up this session. We thank everybody for their contributions. We're trying to keep time. There's a lot more to be said, a lot more to be done. We'll have the next quarter at BBM, and we can extend this discussion. Thank you very much for your participation, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, very neat, very neat. This is your picture. You were not in the first one. Can we have a group picture, please? Can we have the screen down so that the pictures are not blurred? And I'll invite the MD and Captain Aduson, promoted twice. They've been promoted to Captain and Doctor. Captain Dr. Uriesi. And Chief, okay, 3 promotions. Captain Dr. Chief Uriesi. He was also in charge of Cape Town Airport. That's why. President. Yes, please. Fantastic. This is it. This is the shot. Going once. Twice. Thank you very much. Okay, the Managing Director of the Federal Airports Authority will go for her interview session. She has an interview session right now. As she proceeds to her interview session, I would like to invite members on the second panel to please come forward quickly and take their seats. I'd like to invite members of the second panel to please come forward quickly and take their seats so that we can then start with their introduction and then we'll take the next session. We want to thank the Managing Director of the new Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria. We would, however, be most grateful if our MD can stay with us at least for the second session. For the next session, I'd like to invite the following people to please come forward and take their seats. One seater with a round of applause.
Please come forward and take a seat to the right, please. Finally, please, Dr. Okabe, please. I'd also like to invite Mr. Montayo Williams. Montayo. Okay. I'd also like to invite by the CEO. Let's invite you to also take a seat. I'd also like to invite Mr. Shagun Musa or his representative. Mr. Shagun Musa. Yes. To the Managing Director, Chairman of the Board of Trustees, in appreciation for Can we have the plaques, please? We want to quickly do this. Time is of the essence, please.
We will take this session now. Session begins with an intro. At the intro ends, we'll do the presentation. Without interview. Let's have an interview. As soon as the interview, we'll do the presentation of Madam Kani. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to our second session. So we move into the second panel of the day. This focuses on the critical question: how can companies operating within the airport environment enhance their business and contribute more meaningful to Nigeria's economic development? The FDR raised the critical question when she talked about one of them, which are your concessionaires. We know we run an airport where family members are not allowed to enter into the terminal building, yet we have shops, we have businesses at the departure hall that would benefit from such an arrangement. Can I please indulge the rest of us not being interviewed to please sit down so that we can have some kind of order? Thank you. So I'll slide into Nufusa, is he represented? No, so we will skip him. Babalaki is represented. Okay. Of course, the Professor is represented by his right hand man, Dr. Awil. Is he seated? I don't see. Okay, I was looking for you. All right, this is his sidekick. Always with him. So he's represented. Dr. Babalaki is also represented by his chief operating officer, Jibuno. And the chairman of CITA is self-representing. That is Mr. Ubagbe and Mr. Williams. Nigel is part of the panel. The way we are taking this panel is quite different. Each of the panelists will come forward for 5 minutes, 5 minutes only to introduce their business, and you will listen to what they do and how they believe their role at the airport enhances the economics of the airport environment. At the end of that, the questions will now turn to the audience to ask them questions and go. So I will start with Mr. Jibono from Jibono, sorry. You didn't give me the details. My mistake. No, please, it's better to start. Speak about.
Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ravi Jibodu, the CEO for Mauritania Airport. I'll start this way. MM2, the T1, T2, and we have the MM1 and MMA2. So we run the MMA2, which is the terminal. And I can also start by saying that we operate, about 11, not about 11 airlines out of the terminal. And I think yearly we should be talking about 3 million passengers. On a daily basis, we know that the footfall is not less, is over 10,000 people. So I'm going to give you this background for you to be able to understand the enormity of the kind of work that goes to running the airport. So on a daily basis, we deal with 11 airlines, and we deal with over 10,000 footfall at the airport. I'm talking about departures, arrival, and also some of the other people that operate at the airport. The airport cannot sustain itself. And because I've heard a lot of things that the earlier speaker talked about, and I'm taking this direction because what we do will actually fizzle out if we didn't take care of this. So one of those things is basically that an airport without an airline is just probably a shopping mall if you have some shops there. Okay? Now, if you have an airline cannot sustain itself, it means that we may not have an airline that is going to be operating at the airport. So we want to make an airline and other businesses around the airport not be able to sustain itself. There was a joke that somebody grabbed me one of my that a lot of the states have built a lot of airports, and he said, I can tell you they're just preparing business for you when you retire because of that. after some time, you have almost about 20 there and there's nowhere to go to again. So are we building trade centers? How are we connecting the trade centers in Nigeria? Connected a lot of others. I'll give an example. For instance, you have a lot of movement from Libreville into Port Harcourt. I don't know whether it's still that, but there's a lot of traditional movement there. But you have a lot of northerners that move from Port Harcourt to Kano. There is no connection between Port Harcourt and Kano, whether by cargo or by air, passenger flight. So what is important is how do we connect this? In Abuja, for instance, we have Nasarawa, we have Niger. How do we pull in the cargo into Abuja and be able to pull the cargo into Lagos and Lagos via? So those are areas that I think is very can threaten an airport if you did not look at that. Because for me, for MMA2, we have done what we need to do. We have led, in this in terms of innovation, in terms of infrastructure. What we're dealing with now, basically, is to see how we can ensure that we jig the passenger experience. The experience that we have now, how we want to make sure that as the aviation industry is evolving, we are actually setting the pace in terms of the passenger experience, which also not only started from the airport, but even the pre-airport experience. For instance, you are coming to the airport, having a lot of traffic at Ikeja, and the bike carrier says 10,000 naira, which will leave you off. You already have a bad experience, but you're actually coming to fly at a bit. We're looking at all of this on the compass to ensure that we free those areas and our passengers, which is also the passengers on the airline, has a fantastic experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to take a pause on this panel so that we can do some ceremonies that are necessary. In order to do that, please let me first invite the chairman of our board of trustees of the Aviation Roundtable. And at the same time, invite our special guest and keynote speaker, the managing director of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, Mrs. Kuku.
All that we present to you this plaque, which reads, in appreciation of your representation at the first quarter 2026 BBM Roundtable, which is holding today, 26th of March 2026. So we are very pleased and proud of you, proud of your achievements, and we look forward to more in the near future. God bless you. On behalf of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, I'd like to thank the Aviation Safety Roundtable again for this opportunity and of course for this plaque. Thank you for the continued collaboration and I definitely look forward to more opportunities. Thank you very much, everybody.
There are more presentations.
More presentations.
Dr. George, Managing Director, Dr. Oresi, please. Dr. Oresi.
Oh, okay. This is presented to you, Captain Dr.
All right, after the mini detour, we present this to you on behalf of ART in appreciation of your participation as a panelist today at our Q1 BBM meeting. This system called Aviation works. We are proud of you and we look forward to partnering more with you in the near future. Congratulations.
Well, obviously, thank you very much to the Aviation Roundtable. You guys have done a great job, and you continue to cooperate with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will present this to you in appreciation of your participation as a panelist today at our first quarter BBM, and we look forward to more collaboration with you as a person and your institution in the near future.
On behalf of International Airline Association of Nigeria, AOC, we say a big thank you to you for inviting us and also for bringing us here to engage on this discussion that is very, very important to us. We will collaborate with you. We're all in the industry together. We'll work together and we'll have a fantastic environment. Thank you very much.
This is presented to Dr. Saidi Fadeni, Chairman of NACO, in appreciation of his participation today as a panelist on our first quarter BBM. And we look forward to greater and stronger collaboration with ART in the near future as we wish you well. Thank you very much.
This is so thank you to the organizers on behalf of the board chairman of NACO and to wish you well in the future deliberations. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Bring the next class. This is a presentation to Captain Ado Sanusi. He has had to take his leave. We appreciate his presence here and his contributions over the years, and has earned the name Gentleman Captain today. All right? So this is for him, for taking part in this Q1 BBM of our association. We appreciate you, and we appreciate him as well. Thank you.
One last one. After this, one last one.
Excellence and delivery. I want to thank the stakeholders and the organizers of ART. It's a wonderful platform to amplify the voices of stakeholders. Keep on doing your good work, and we say thank you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, this is presented to Ms. Charlotte Essiet. I'm French. Charlotte. Charlotte Essiet, MDCO, Health Systems Limited. In appreciation of your participation as a panelist today at our PBM Quarter 1, we are grateful that you returned to come and we appreciate your contributions. Thank you very much.
On behalf of Elite System, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your patience as we go through that ceremony, but continue with our second panel. Next, I'll be calling the representative of Dr. Shegun Musa, who is also an ART member, who is represented by Dr. Olusegun Awoyope, to discuss what White Scope does. If you are the fortunate finder of an iPhone, the actual owner is looking for it. So if you are kind enough to hand it over to any of the people you see in front of the room, we will really truly appreciate it. Otherwise, the owner will activate tracking and they'll find it in your handbag. Thank you very much.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Permit me to stand on existing protocol. Please, can we have the slide up, please? I'm here to represent Dr. Shegun Musa, who is also a member of this distinguished platform, the ART. He's inadvertently absent here today. We have just 5 minutes presentation to make about enhancing input of the allied sector in Nigeria's economic development and an X-ray of services rendered by the White Scope Group of companies, its impact on the economy and relationship with air transportation, paper delivered by Dr. Shegun Musa in absentia, Group Chairman, CEO, White Scope Group of companies. Hello. Okay, this is the content. Okay, the preamble. This presentation is designed to highlight the symbiotic relationship between Nigeria's allied sector, logistics, supply chain, and ground handling, and the broader economy with specific focus on the strategic impact of White Scope International Logistics Limited. Next slide. The introduction talked about the power of allied sector. The allied sector refers to the support industries, logistics, freight forwarding, warehousing, ground handling, that enable primary sector to function. The economic context. While Nigeria's GDP is often discussed in terms of oil and grain, the logistics and transport sector contribute nearly 3% to the GDP and act as the circulatory system of the economy. Now the core message is economy is only an economy that is only as fast as its logistics. The White Scope International Logistics Limited, a corporate overview. Who are we? A leading Nigerian-based international freight forwarding and logistic company with footprint in Africa, Ghana, South Africa, Ivory Coast, United Kingdom, United States, and China. Our strategic presence is located at major gateways locally and internationally, and key seaports around the world. Our core services include multimodal transportation, air, sea, land, cargo handling, heavy lift and specialized equipment, custom brokerage and release express service or delivery, express delivery, warehousing, supply chain management, specialists in cold chain logistics. Transportation sphere in general, and air transportation in particular, a number of subsidiaries were introduced in the wide scope operations as part of our impact and the synergy with air transportation. We have a number of subsidiaries, I'll just mention 2 or 3 here. One of the subsidiaries is what we call Global Transport Policy News Limited. The acronym for that is GTP. We publish specialized transportation like bilingual magazine in English and French. We have GTP television, advocacy, consultancy, GTP annual multimodal transport roundtable. The 2026 edition is coming up in June this year, and also Women in Transport annual conference. We have our Star Properties Construction. We're wondering what our Star Real Estate is doing in the value chain. We have real estate, and as a matter of fact, we have some properties around the airport that those that travels can check in, even airline operators. We have GTP Training Academy. The academy has been training state actors across the country, like Nigerian Immigration Service, Federal Safety Corps, Nigerian Police, that are involved in the transportation sector. We are also into collaboration with Lagos State University of Transport and also consultancy. And we also have merchandise concern. The merchandise concern, what it does is we source raw materials, equipment, and other needs for companies in Nigeria and across Africa. Yeah, the synergy, wide scope and air transport. Air transportation in Nigeria is a premium driver of high value trade. Wide scope enhances this through time-defined delivery, cargo specialization, global connectivity. Impact on Nigerian economy development. The job creation, the aviation and logistics supply chain support over 240,000 jobs in Nigeria. Companies like Widescope contribute directly to this employment pool. Job creation via ancillary services. Widescope contribute to create direct and indirect jobs through its other business. Then let's go to the recommendation model integration linking airport with rail and road network to reduce dwell time for cargo, safety defense in depth DID, implementing layered security safety measures at ports to build international confidence, policy harmonization. And the conclusion, Widescope Limited serves as a case study for how private sector efficiency can bridge the infrastructure gap When air transportation and professional logistics work in synergy, Nigeria moves closer to its goal of being a regional hub for African container trade area. After, thank you.
Thank you for your elaborate presentation. I hope you're taking notes because this session requires you to ask valid questions. Mr. Motai Williams is Director of Niger Bed Engineering. And it's your session now. Thank you, please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Motayo. Here, a presentation to the aviation industry in our very ministry. We are the leading Pan-African. Aviation engineering firm. Environment. We are Holco in Dubai. We have an office in Lagos. We have a presence in Johannesburg, London, and then Zambia. In the last couple of years, I myself come from the legacy British Airport Authority and the NATS, National Air Traffic Control in England. Slide please, I don't have mine. Right. Our vision is to be Africa's most trusted aviation engineering partner, driving safe, sustainable, and sovereign air mobility. Next one. Project, which is airfield ground lighting, comms equipment, consoles. Go to the next one. No, back. Yeah, and then other solutions that we provide. Counter-UAS transformation solutions. So the MD was talking about security, biometrics processing, and all this is flight information display systems. We do all those. We do imaging systems. We do disaster. Well, we have about 3 projects in Malawi, end-to-end ANSB type projects. We've had ENTEC and reactivated the airport. The new Ikiti and Cargo Airport, it was also us that did a lot of the airport, Amfani Airport, and then so we're looking in the next couple of years, I think in the 24 months time period, we're looking